All right, welcome to the Let's Stay Together talk show. Sword Radio people, love you, love you. This is Rick McCain along with my baby, my girl, my boo, Brenda McCain. How you doing today, baby?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm dispensing with those titles. You have to give them yourself, you know, in your thing when you do Ife Designs. You can give all your titles, but it's got so many titles on there now. You know, honoree and everything else is on there now. She got more titles than I have names, you know. So I'm just Reverend and radio host, theater. I think you got about 5 titles behind you.
Yeah, but number one title was wife.
Uh-huh. Ain't that nice? And I didn't have to pay for that one.
You didn't. That was a freebie today.
All right. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. We're going to have a great show here today. Babe, you got anything you want to talk about before we start off? Any blessings, praise reports, prayers, anything like that?
I want to make a quick announcement. Some praise reports. We still here. We're alive. We're healthy. And, yeah. I'm trying to think, did I miss somebody's birthday this past week? But we're still here, and I'm grateful that everything went right with you. I prayed on that. You said there being Stevie.
Yeah, and Stevie Wonder again, for those of you who are looking on Facebook. I had to get my left cataract eye worked on today. Not Monday. It went out pretty good. So, but I got to wear these glasses because of all these beaming lights in front of me. And without ruffling that paper, what you got over there you want to talk about?
This announcement is for Sisterhood for Life Annual Holiday Gala. Welcomes you to the Emerald City, an evening of empowerment and elegance. It is December the 9th from 5 to 10 p.m. It is not too late to get your tickets for $75. It will be going up to $100 on the 15th. This is the event that I'm being honored at, and I'm so humble and grateful for them for honoring me for my acts of work that I'm doing. But again, this is December the 9th from 5 to 10 p.m. Will be at the Glenwoody Golf Club, the Emerald City, brought to you by Sisterhood for Life.
All right, so we're great. We got that resolved. Anything else before we go?
We're good to go.
All right, so what are we talking about today?
Today we will be talking about, can you accept me?
Right, and so that's the actual title is, I'm like, all of a sudden you get this cough again, is God, can you accept me? God, can you accept me? And it's going to be going in a little bit different way because a lot of times we we come to God and we say, God, can you accept me for who I am? And we try to put God in an acceptance aisle that we want him to accept us as. If we're doing something sinful, if we're doing something wrong, I remember this one guy was telling me he knows that God knows that he has to have him some, meaning having sex. He wasn't married, but he had a relationship with God, basically saying God understood he was going to have sex out of marriage, and that was okay. And I remember mentioning to him, I don't know what God that is, but he ain't saying that to me, so I don't know why he's saying that to you. We always look for God to accept our mess or the things that we're doing. And then we'll say that God is love, and if God is love, he will accept me. But I'm turning this one around by basically coming from the side of God and saying, God, this is God saying, can you accept me? Because God has some things that he requires from us. And I like John 15, 10 and 14 at the beginning. It says, if you keep my commandments, I can stop right there. It says, if you can keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandment and abided in his love. So there are certain commandments or requirements that God has for us who are Christians or saved, who are claiming to know Jesus Christ and walk in his glory and will. We want God to accept us, but here is God saying, can you accept me? Because I'm the one that created you. I brought you into this world. So you can't ask me to accept you if you don't accept me for what I'm saying is acceptable to be a part of heaven, of a relationship with God. These are the things that we have to do to accept God. And Psalm says, blessed, this is Psalms 1, 1 and 2. It says, blessed is a man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. It's kind of hard for me to read this because of these glasses, but this is God telling us what we need to do, Brenda. And I think a lot of times what happens is that we are so concerned about God accepting us for what we do, the life that we live. You know, we can live a sinful life and think that, you know, because we go to church, God is going to accept the fact that I'm living, you know, I'm not married, but I'm with this guy and we're having sex and we're living together. But you know, God is love, so he'll accept me. Or I'm living a relationship where it's not the traditional relationship, but God is love, and he can accept that. We do that all the time so we can feel accepted by God. Or in some cases, we don't want to be a Christian or have a relationship with God because he don't accept me for who I am. And here's God is saying, okay, but can you accept me? What you got?
Okay, can you accept me? I like to twist on this because we find every excuse to either roll with God or go against God. And like you were saying with this, you're living this sinful life in any area you want to put it in. But if God can't accept the way I am, I'm not going to fall under the umbrella of saying I'm a Christian. Or he knows, like that guy said, he know me, he made me, he know my weaknesses, so he got to accept it. And the bottom line is, no. If you proclaiming to be saved and to be a Christian, it's not God accepting you. it really is you accepting the rules and the laws of the Word of God and what God stands for. So the twist of what you just brought, it's a big pill, a hard pill to swallow, because you don't really have no out to anything. Because basically, it is you following the rules of God if you accept Him. But in so many cases, like I said, we find any excuse to not want to follow him because there's too many rules. This is the law. So basically, like you're saying with God, can you accept me? Can you handle my truth? And if you can't handle that, then it's like, okay, well, you got free will, so do you.
I mean, and the thing about it, we live in this world now where, you have to accept almost everything, and it's you accept me. If you can't accept me, then that's too bad, or then I don't want to be with you, or if you don't accept what I do, then you're against me. And we have this kind of philosophy now where it's more about people accepting us than we accepting what's right in the sight of the Lord. And basically it becomes accountability and responsibility. I don't want to be responsible the way God wants me to walk. So then I'm going to change how I walk to be acceptable to Him. So if I don't like the way He wants me to walk, then I'll just change how I walk and have Him follow me. I give you an example. The yellow brick road. I talked about this before. The thing says follow the yellow brick road. Follow, 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 follow the yellow brick road. Well, in the original version of Wizard of Oz, the other road was orange.
Oh.
They had another road there. It was in black and white, but the original version was yellow and orange. And as the roads circled with each other, eventually the other road stopped. And that road may have seemed as though it was going to take you in the same direction, but there was only one road that was going to take them to the Wizard of Oz's palace. So the example of this is saying the world will bring up many roads that seem to be going in the same direction. But there's only one road that goes to Christ, and that's through Jesus. Mm-hmm. And we have to follow His commandment. That's why I like John 15:10. It says, if you keep my commandments, if you follow the road of righteousness that I have, the commandments I tell you to live, you can then accept me. But you cannot walk another road and then expect me to come to that road where you are, where you want to be accepted, and me say now, okay, since you don't want to go down the road of righteousness that I've laid out for mankind, which happens to be my creation, I'm going to walk where you are. It's a denial or a defile of God's righteousness, because we don't want His righteousness. We want Him to see the righteousness in us. And it's hard for us to say, God, I can accept you, but it's easier for me to say, God, accept me.
Okay, that's a nice point there. God, can you accept me? But you know what? The bottom line is God does love everyone, and God accepts us in all our flaws and all the ways that we do wrong. He still give us the free range to live our life, but He still love us, and He just waiting for us to come to Him correctly. So when we say, no, God, can you accept me? Who are we to say that? I mean,
here's the thing. It has nothing to do with God's love. The Bible tells us, for God so loved the world. He ain't talking about the planet. He's talking about humanity. God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. It's self-evident that God loves us because He created us in His own image. It has nothing to do with that. That's people playing off of words so they can feel accepted. It has nothing to do with that. Your mama loved you too. Your daddy loved you too. But when they punished you, did that mean they didn't love you? You had to follow rules and regulations in the house, and that's why when you say, "When I get, when I get out here, I ain't gonna be doing nothing," because you didn't want to do that. We have a disobedient spirit about us, where we always want to do what we want instead of what God is calling us to do. So we try to wrap it around and, well, God loves me anyway. Well, God, no, He's always loved us. He loved you because He created you. He loved you because He allowed mankind to duplicate His love for man by allowing us to do the same thing that He did when He formed us from the dirt. He allowed us to be formed in our own bodies. So He loves us, yeah, but that has nothing to do with accepting Him. Because acceptance means I'm going to follow what He does. If you confess your sins, He is faithful and just. There's a condition to cleanse you from those sins. But we don't want to do that. God accept. I don't like that. Let's change that. God is going to accept me in my sins. The end. We don't want to do if we confess. No, I don't need to confess. I ain't done nothing wrong, God. And ain't nothing wrong with me having sex with a man that I ain't married to. That ain't what we do in this world anymore. So I didn't do anything wrong, God. God accepts me. That's it. But to God, it's a sin. So when we decide that we want to do what we want instead of following God, the question then becomes God saying to us, can you accept me? The problem is that we're still asking God to accept us, and we're not accepting Him for what He wants and how He wants us to live a holy and righteous life.
Amen.
We're going to talk about that a little bit more. We've got our guests on the show today. I'm going to let my baby introduce them, and we're going to go on into speaking to our two special guests.
Yes, we have the Blair family on here. I'm going to say the beautiful Janine first. Hey, Janine. And then we have Dan over here with us. Okay, and Dan is our resident guest, but you know me, I'm always for the ladies first.
Yeah,
Dan Blair is counselor and mediator at Blair Counseling and Mediation. So welcome back. And this time, Janine's not in the car.
No,
We
she's
got
not
her
here.
right here. Last time you was in the car, she is faithful. I love that. So welcome you two. Welcome.
I don't know if y'all looking at me all crazy. I had cataract surgery yesterday, so I got to wear these glasses. You know, I feel like Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder right now. You know, but the lights are too bright, and I've got to have these glasses on. So welcome, and I'm gonna say the very handsome and knowledgeable Dan.
With a cool
Okay,
haircut.
you're gonna be sitting up there saying,
Wait,
the very handsome and
Right.
knowledgeable Dan.
Yeah, because I always shout out the women. The beautiful Janine and the handsome Dan Blair with the nice haircut. I'm looking at that. I'm like, it is trimmed. We got all good for our show. I love it.
Too kind, too kind.
So what you got for us, you two?
How to overcome differences. You know, they say opposites attract, but I also find that opposites can cause future tension. I don't know if that's true for you guys, but you've heard of spenders versus savers. You've heard of feelers versus people that stay with logic,
Okay.
and pursuers versus withdrawers. For my wife and I tend toward OCD. She tends toward ADHD.
Okay.
OCD and ADHD. That's a combination right there.
Yeah, I knew this could be a problem when we were first married. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny because I was finding out all kinds of new things about Dan and, things that I didn't really recognize, but we were living together and married. And I was going through his medicine drawer and, or, whatever, his junk drawer or whatever in the bathroom. And I realized, like, why is there such, I don't know, it was like I don't know, it was so organized. Like, I don't know if it was by size or whatever, but it looked
Alphabetical
too,
order.
okay. Well, it was alphabetical. He actually ended up telling me that, but it just looked so organized. It kind of creeped me out. And so being the goof that I am, I went like this inside the drawer and just mixed it all up because that's how I live. Like that was too perfect. And so it was like, I thought it was funny. I thought it would help him. Somehow I thought it would help him. And then he was, when he saw that and when I explained it, I explained it just like that. I'm like that. Why would you do that? So I made it better. And then that's but then he did explain to me that was that he gets great satisfaction,
It is.
right?
It's enjoyable.
To be
Uh,
organized.
so we had our first argument. I had to say,
Wow.
it's great. I have everything a certain way in the closet, and if you mess that up,
Rainbow. I mean, it's still to this day organized
yeah.
and I do think it works well. I think even some of our kids are like that, and I think that they can't be my kids but some of them are, yeah. So because we're blended, so yeah. So I do realize that can be helpful, but it still hasn't really changed me. It's
I mean, who's the organized one in our house?
Okay, before I answer that, this reminds me of the movie. It's a joke though. Sleeping with the Enemy with not Julia Roberts started.
Yeah,
Was it
Julia
Julia
Roberts,
Roberts
yeah,
that
it
started
was.
Sleeping with the Enemy? Where he had everything lined up perfectly in the cabinets. That creeped me out or crept me out too.
Yeah.
I mean, everything from the towels to this to that. But to answer, which I know you're not like that, we both are kind of organized,
Mhm,
Oh
okay.
yeah.
especially around the holidays. I'm really
Between the
organized.
two, who's the most organized?
Oh, it's me. It's for me. It's a hobby.
I'm
I
an
enjoy.
organized mess.
I'm trying to figure if she's gonna tell the truth.
You
Oh,
talking about me?
Yeah,
So I can't see his eyes, so I'm like, oh,
that's okay.
I used to be very organized.
That's not the answer. The answer is me.
You
That's
right
what-
now, right now.
I'm gonna tell you something. When you were talking about that, this piece of paper, every time I get it, because we have a car drive, I always have to fold this like this. No matter where I'm at, and put it in a nice little thing like this, and then make it folded really neatly, and then stick it in my pocket somewhere so I
Janine.
can throw it away if I'm not next to a garbage can.
Right,
And
like
it's just something that I don't know why I do it, but I mean I do feel it does relax me. But I do that, and it's amazing how you look at certain little things that you do, and it's like your spouse is like, "What the heck are you doing?" And it kind of it can be like, okay, because I'm extremely organized. I'm a person who's time. I'm always on time. I hate to be late. I mean, there's a lot of things about me that I have the same characteristics. But how did you all? I mean, when you figured that out, what did you do to kind of offset some of the trials, the tribulations or issues that might bring up?
we learned. Well, we had to learn to accept each other. So I had to learn to keep my stuff a certain way and let her stuff be her way.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
vice versa.
Yeah, and I think that's a theme that we all had to learn over time how to accept each other. One of our biggest differences, though, I would have to say, is that I am an introvert and she's an extrovert. Now, we both love being with people, believe me, but it's about how do you recharge? I like to recharge with lower stimulation. She recharges with higher stimulation. I need more alone time. She might need more people time. I need more sleep at night. She needs less sleep at night. And so you would think we could work that out, but that's probably one of our tougher issues that have led to tension or arguments in the past. And of course, I feel guilty about needing downtime now.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's knows why me and Dan are so connected with each other.
because you're the
Because
same.
we're the same way. I am the same way like that. I'm like I love my alone time. We will go out somewhere with Brenda, and she's like a social butterfly. She's everywhere. I mean, it's almost like I'm not even there. She's everywhere, and I like that more quiet time together. And she moves around and talks to everybody, and it's so different with us. What happened to me though, and I love how you said, "Yeah, I worked that out." I'm just gonna be honest, Dan. It's more like I've molded to her way than she's molded to mine. I mean, she's kind of like that helpmate then helped herself out to make it be molded to her more. So I mean, it was just I don't know if I just decided I don't want to be bothered with the issues, but how does that? I mean, if someone is doing that, can that be destructive a little bit because maybe I'm devaluing myself? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I felt guilty
Oh, we say think so. Oh.
feeling needing more downtime. And I felt like there's even something wrong with me at times. And as I learned to accept it, that this is just a valid difference between us, I can be a lot more comfortable with it. Let me give you an example. I remember a time that we were in the house together, and all of a sudden she was outside in the woods talking to a homeless man that was in the woods by her house.
All the time, actually.
She made friends with him. And even what did you do? I think you donated some of my clothes to him too.
Did you let him know that you was giving his clothes away?
Not yet.
No,
Not yet. Maybe a couple months later,
I found out later.
yeah, but he was on my mind all the time. So I felt like, you know what, you're fine. You're okay. You're dressed, you're fed, you have a house. And I couldn't stop thinking of this person. So yeah, I would go out and late at night and, maybe I was supposed to come, to bed and watch a movie or, have some downtime and I just couldn't settle down. So, and I think that we've had many issues with that, early on. And I think that the best thing we did was really talk about it, talk about our differences because I am wired differently. He's wired differently. Neither one of us are wrong. His needs, my needs. And I think if you're not willing to accept somebody, that's where you have problems.
Mhm.
And you can't change anybody. I can't change him to be more extrovert, but I can understand him. And I think that that's probably some of the best things I've learned from him is to care about his desires, his needs, and understand him. And then he does the same for me. And if you can both do that for each other, care and understand, I think that that makes a good partnership. And even if you're completely different.
Yeah. So
I love that.
yeah.
Yeah, try to understand instead of like you said, trying to make someone like you. We don't need two Brendas in this house and we don't need two Ricks. It's just I need to understand Rick more and he needs to understand me. Like you said, you can't change anyone, especially adults. It's like you set in your ways and it's like as long as we're not demeaning one another, disrespecting one another, then yeah. But just a little subtle differences that we're talking about, I get that because I never even thought about just understand him more and respect the way he does things instead of chastising him and saying you ain't doing this right way, blah 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 blah. And what makes like I say, it's no wrong person.
Right.
You're right in the way you justify the way you do things and vice versa. So maybe let's make an agreement publicly. I'm right all the time.
Yeah, I hear
Publicly.
that. You guys are like family, so I'm gonna give Janine a hard time here because I know you guys do counseling. I don't want to hear that
What?
I need to accept the way that Brenda is. Why doesn't she accept the way I am?
Oh, that's both ways.
No, I'm selfish right now.
Oh, you been
I'm the selfish, mate that's saying I've always accepted her. Why do I got to accept her? What? How does that help me? Because I feel that she can accept me. Why should I accept her? I mean, because people are like that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and I think that those are probably the relationships that don't work out because if I were to be the only one to care and understand, And to be honest, Dan has modeled that as a husband. I probably was not that model. I know I wasn't. He modeled it well, always accepting. He would talk about it. He could be frustrated about it, but he would always talk to me about it. I would probably voice more of a discontent and and not be as forgiving, and more act like, what's wrong with you? Like there would be times like family members would come over and I'd be like, they'd say, "Where's Dan?" And I'm like, "I don't know." But he would be upstairs winding down, and it would be like a Saturday, and he wouldn't come down, and I would get so upset because I was like, I want him down here. I want him to be a part of things. But it's not like it was like all day. It just lasts for a little while. And it wasn't the worst thing that he wasn't down there. And I had to really just understand him. But I probably was pretty negative about it. I think it took learning how he treated me about all the times that I didn't meet his needs. That I was like, wow, how can I expect him to change only, and not me? Because I surely was not the one changing. And I'm still the more difficult party.
I used to feel let down by her, like I wasn't important. And I realize now that's just part of who she is. I am important. And we've been married 17 years. And it was just in the last year that I started to really taking even delight in who she is. Now I see her talking. Now I even see her talking to people, and I just with this person and that person, and I feel like that's my wife. Before I was feeling, hurt that I wasn't important. I realize now I've always been a priority to her. She just didn't necessarily manage time the same way as I did.
Terrible.
Yeah.
That sounds so familiar.
Yeah, it does sound so familiar. Because I will tell you honestly, I haven't gotten there yet, Dan. Because like I said, Brenda could go somewhere, and I'm non-existent almost to me. That's how I feel, and as a person who wants to be a part of that scenario and be a part of that, I feel isolated and lonely in some cases, and so I have to remind me. And I think sometimes God taps me on the shoulder and reminds me, because I too, preacher, everybody goes there. Dan is a therapist, all of us go through this, where a point where we start feeling lonely or left out. And I was feeling that way, but we've been married for 30 something years, going on 30 years, been together 32 years. I shouldn't be thinking that way, because she's already showed the commitment to loving me. She's not going to just be isolated. She's not a slave to me. She has her own identity and own things that she wants to do. And God has to constantly remind me sometimes, because I still suffer with it sometimes, that I want to be with this individual, instead of when we go out, it's like, I've got to find somebody else to talk to. And it may be surprising to a lot of people. I'm going to be honest. I don't like talking to people that much. I really don't. I don't really get out and just start talking. I'm a preacher, so I got to talk to people. But I'm not just going to, find somebody and just start, hey, guy, and men really don't do that as much. Brenda can go like anywhere and just everybody's talking to her. And I feel like I'm on an island by myself, and it feels lonely, but I have to remind myself that's not your personality, that's hers. Accept that, and if you're gonna go somewhere, do something, and it is just hard sometimes to adapt to that. So I love the way that you all are saying accept it, because it's something that we have to, in order to be in a relationship with someone. You have to accept that there are differences that make a marriage.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're not perfect at it, that we still get upset at times, for sure. But would you say that you would have to occupy your time with
I always have a plan B now.
Wow. Okay.
Dan, I'm gonna go on that minute move and write down. I need a plan B because There are some times. I mean, and we're always busy. And I mean, I think a lot of times people think because you're in the ministry or you've been married for a long time, you have all the answers, and we don't. I mean, we're learning it. That I mean, sometimes it's almost seeming like God is teaching me so I can teach others. And I'm like, do I have to actually go through this, God? I don't want to have to go through it, but it's a learning process to say that your marriage, and I'm gonna be teaching about that or talking about it later, is that I wasn't made, she wasn't made, or I wasn't made for her. I was molded for her, you know, and that we mold ourselves to each other. 17 years is a lot of molding and figuring things out and putting things together. It's not easy, and it's a lot of challenges along the way. And I like the fact that you all are sharing this and saying, hey, you have to overcome this. What were some of the pitfalls that you would probably say people should watch out for?
Well, they say expectations are future resentments.
I like that.
Be able to make
Okay.
sure that we have flexible expectations of each other, that we allow for the differences between us, that there's plenty of room. She has plenty of room to be her, and I have plenty of room to be me, and we can accept our differences and work with it versus trying to change each other is something that I've learned. And I'm a lot happier doing that than hoping and wishing she was like this or she would be like that and just feeling let down. I'm a lot happier just accepting her for who she is, seeing her strengths, affirming her strengths, encouraging her, and and her acceptance of me to be who I am, and even to support me. Like it's okay. It's good to be that. I'm more of a thinker. I'm more of a feeler. I'm a more of an introspective kind of person, and I get my creativity from that. So she's respecting that part of me. And so I have to say we're really starting to work that out even recently.
But I think we also have to, if you get to a point where you are disappointed or it's like you can't take it anymore, the separation, you have to make time for each other. He has to know he's a priority. That's not his job. That's my job. For him, that would be his job to, like I might want to go take a walk when he's already had a really long day and I just need to get out of the house. And he's like, I just want to get in the house. I mean, that's a lot of life. And so he'll say, I can't go for a long walk, but I'll go for a 10-minute walk. And I'm like, that's all I need. We'll go take a walk with the dog just down the street and back. Perfect.
And as long as we don't meet any homeless people, we're good.
Oh, he sound like you. Janine, I got your back because I know how it is. We are
Or
social butterflies.
any stray animals, then
If we're done. Yeah. I chased a bird for an hour and we were late to a party because there was a little baby bird.
I went ahead without her, and I just told her family, well, she's following a bird right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, Brenda will get a little distracted with people. It's like if we go to a play or something like that, I can be there. I'm ready to go because I got to go to work the next day. We got another play coming up. Oh my God! She would, okay, I'm ready to go, and then she sees someone. Oh, I'm like, oh my God! Now we're here another 15 minutes. I'm like, I gotta go, and then I'm frustrated, and then she's frustrated at me because I'm frustrated at her, and it's like, okay, and we're not saying, hey, I know he wants to leave. Let me spend this little time here and do that. Or I know she wants to stay. Let me we're not doing that all the time, like you all are saying. And so it has to be something that you have to continuously work on to make sure that, because we could be perfect, and this is with any relationship. One day can destroy a lot of things if you don't put that plan into action of saying, hey, I have to make sure that he's happy. He needs to make sure that I'm happy. Let's work together with it, because one day can cause it. Brenda be mad like, you knew I came out here to spend some time and what was that thing you told me? Socialize, not socialize. What do people do now when they act like they talking and it's not really nothing? I'm just being facetious, but what is it called when people? It's a word that you use that you're trying to
Communicate?
get people together.
Socialize?
I'm a man, I can't think of it because it's a word that people use so much now. They it's when they're trying to get businesses together. What is it?
Network?
Networking.
Okay.
I'm networking. I'm like, you're talking. I'm gonna go home.
I'm
And so,
doing business.
It's like those communication things. Hey, talk to me a little bit about outside forces when you're trying to do this, like family, friends, and things of that nature. How that can be detrimental to that relationship because they are not seeing what you're doing for your relationship. They're only focusing on what they think to be done outside that they feel that is right for your relationship.
Yeah. I think we've learned to stick up for each other when it comes to how, like she said, if she had family come over and I wasn't down there, she, you know, I think she would say, I don't know what you would say, but I think you would be more likely to stick up for me than to,
But maybe not always.
complain
I
about
mean,
me.
in the early days, I struggled with it. And but now I absolutely would. I mean, I would defend him because I believe in him.
Mhm.
And I think the same thing for me. One time Dan left me at church because I kept talking. He literally left and I
That's true.
had to walk home along the train tracks in heels. And
Wow.
yeah, and I couldn't get a hold of him. I was like, where did he go? He was here, but he and my son left. And
I was
so
coming back for her.
he was, but he was like, hungry and hangry, I should say. He was coming back, but that was a fight. That was a fight.
I'm telling you, Dan, I was sitting up there saying to myself, man, can I leave one time too? Because I mean, what I think a lot of times with Christians, that's why we do Christian Real. Christians lie to each other. We have those moments where Brenda's talking, and I'm like, I have had visions of me getting in the car and leaving her and feeling so good driving that car, not picking her up because she's talking too much. And I'm like, I gotta get home. I gotta wake up early in the morning. It's 11 o'clock at night already. And she's still, and I see myself driving that car away.
Now we're downtown, and he's gonna leave.
No, we was in Lincolnshire when that
Oh,
happened.
my
That's
God.
even farther away.
Okay.
But I see myself wanting to do that sometimes because I'm frustrated. I'm like, you're not understanding what I need right now, and so it happens. I mean, if we're honest with each other, we have those moments. The good thing about it is that our relationship with Christ and our love for each other stops us from that one devil on our shoulder telling us, leave.
Yeah.
Leave. And I mean, that guy was my friend sometimes. I'm telling you. I was really thinking about leaving. I'm sorry. Yeah, I might think I'm not a good preacher anymore, but it happens. I was really thinking about leaving, but I've never done it in 30 years. But it's just, you get to that point where you're like, this is not right. I want to go. But yet, because you have a relationship with Christ and you love each other, that you're molded together, you accept the fact that it's something you were thinking of, but it's not something necessarily that you're going to do. And when you do that, it's a healing process because you know that even that thought that comes into your mind, though it happens, is not the right thing to do, and it's going to be more damaging to a relationship than healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And I think too, for maybe if you know there's something you have to do, like Dan will say, I'm watching the Bears game today. Should we drive separate? And I'm like, yeah, of course you should drive separate. We're actually known as a family to drive 7 different cars. So all have an agenda. But I think that sometimes could be helpful. Not always, because like Brenda, I could always find somebody to talk to.
Yeah. I mean, and when you can do that, I mean, it's helpful. Because you're working with each other's schedules. And I know Dan wants to go see the Bears, even though they're probably going to lose. He still wants to go see them. Mm-hmm. And I want to catch up with some friends that I haven't seen, talk to somebody before I leave because I want to do some networking.
Yeah, that's the word.
That's my new word.
But I mean,
oh, great.
I'm telling you, I'm having a ball with this. But I mean, the thing about it is that the positive thing about it is that through it all, the way that you connect is, as Janine said, you talk about it, and then you accept it, and you come up with a plan that's going to be beneficial for both of you all. And when you do that, it strengthens your relationship because you recognize. I mean, Brenda's a very strong, independent woman, and she, very strong. I mean, she's always going to be that person that I know that can stand up, will do the things that are right, and I love that about her. But then that strength sometimes, I feel like, okay, can you step back and see me? And I'm very straightforward. I'm biblical to the core. It's going to be biblical to do. And I said this last week on the radio with some friend of mine. I don't know how Brenda has stayed with me for so long, and everybody agreed. And I'm like, okay, this is not an opinion poll. Okay, it's just me saying that, acknowledging that I have some issues too. But of course, they was friend of mine, and they was laughing at me about it. It's the fact that you can accept that you have issues, and you are giving your issues to that person, and they're giving you theirs, and you accept each other because you love and want to be with each other. And I like the fact that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
I do too. They such a dream team to me to do the things that you guys do, and even though your segment, like all the other resident guests, is short, it's so impactful. It's like the takeaways from it. It makes me think that, man, we need to try this because when you're in something, you're in it. Like I never once thought, to be honest, that I have to really look at the situation and say, you know what, we're two different people. Because Janine, I was rolling with, you better jump on board with me than me with him. So thank you for sharing that, opening my eyes.
Thank you for helping my relationship, Janine.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, Brenda.
I do this all the time. I don't know if you guys listen to it, but I'm gonna shout out for Mr. Gatlin. That no weapon formed against you shall prosper. God has got some great things in store for you, brother. Keep on being a positive light, regardless to the darkness that's around you. God will show your light above all things. And we're praying for you each and every Tuesday. We shout out his name, and I've got the paper here to do that. So I just wanted to let you all know that we're still doing that, as I promised to Dan. Dan, give me some last words about overcoming. What was the topic again? I didn't lost myself because
Overcoming
helped me so much in my relationship. Overcoming what?
Overcoming your differences in marriage.
Yeah, give me some last words on that.
Accepting them instead of trying to change the other person. And one way, speaking of Minute Mood, that app, guess what? I made it, it's completely free now.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Download it, no cost. It's really a labor of love. And it's been a tool that we've used. After we get an argument, we take some time to calm down and center ourselves. We use that app to integrate each other's perspective on the issue, and it tends to accelerate the reconnection. So it's maybe not for everybody. People that don't like to write, that's not for them. But for us, when we need it, and for the longest time, I felt like, oh, she forgets about me on the Minute Mood. It's just me writing to myself. But she has made an effort to. She knows that's a love language for me. She's made an effort to respond. And all it takes is like some effort on coming both ways.
And I'm gonna give this a little bit more time. One thing I wanted to bring up is that we're talking about the relationship between you and Janine and me and Brenda. Add in the responsibilities and even sometimes the difficulties of managing that when you have kids.
Mm.
Well, and especially a blended family.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm mad at him, not so much anymore. I still get mad at him, but not so much anymore are all of our kids in the house. So I don't have my kids to go to. He doesn't have his kids to go to. We still have our kids, but most of them are out of the house. So we kind of, it's actually kind of been better, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think that, as a blended family, you could tend to just go, well, go that way and I'm going to go this way.
Her kids go
Yeah.
that way, and I
And,
was the
and
outsider.
that entangles your kids. And
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Yeah.
And so I love working with the blended family ministry that we work for, because I think we've screwed up so many times that we can teach it in a brighter perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's I like that you said that we screwed up so many times, 'cause that's the process. I love that God says, "Hey, I'm gonna let you screw up so you can teach other people how to do what's right."
Oh,
I'm
Right.
like,
sorry
I'm like,
about
I'm like, wow, gee, thanks, God. I'm like,
no.
I don't really want this, but okay, that you got to tell people how that. But the thing about it is that it's a connection with them that make them feel like they're not alone.
Right.
Mhm.
And so, I love you guys for doing that and sharing with people. So I got to get out of here because we got another show and I could talk to you guys all the time. Janine, thank you again for helping my relationship with Brenda,
Yeah.
ministering to her, helping her to understand me a little bit more.
Rick, call me anytime.
Oh, I will.
Right. And all of a sudden now she gonna be changed back to I ain't doing nothing.
Right. Me and Janine said no.
I always got Dan that I can go to for some counseling. Yeah, Rick, I heard you was having some issues and Janine has told me about it. Let me give you these phrases to help you out.
I'll coach you and you coach me.
Okay.
Right. And Janine gonna say those phrases don't work, Brenda.
But hey, we appreciate you guys and love you and
Love you
Love you
too.
too.
now remember in December we take like that week off. We're gonna be doing recordings because we don't want to mess up your holidays. So
Right.
we'll give you a break that and we'll talk to you again in January. So love
Yep.
you and if we don't talk to you, have a wonderful holidays and we
Yep.
will be continuously talking about this even through the recording. So
Thank you so much.
We appreciate
that.
it.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
and we'll see you all later. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye. Hey, my relationship has been saved. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you,
Y'all
Janine.
need that how now all of a sudden Brenda's gonna start listening to me. Speaking of listening, we didn't play any music last week, and so we're gonna have Marvin Sapp come in. It's gonna be Never Would Have Made It, and then it's gonna be Praise Him in Advance. We're gonna have a couple commercials, and we'll be right back. This is Rick McCain along with my baby, my girl, my boo. Kenny, our Rockford Goat, is going to be playing the music, and we'll be right back. All right. These glasses are so hot on my face. I'm telling you.
They're hot?
Yeah, because it's like, that stuff is coming in, and I'm sweating around my face. But what you got for me?
You know what? This is a feel-good story. Surgeon becomes first black woman to hold presidential position for a cardio. What is that?
Cardio.
Cardiothoracic Surgery Society.
Cardiorastic.
Okay. Her name is Dr. Africa Wallace. That name is just
Dr.
so
Africa.
regal. Africa. Now, she's director of thoracic surgery at Capitol Health and has been appointed. I guess they never had a black woman because she is the first black female to occupy the role. This is so cool because they work with robotics, babe. And for her, all eyes are on her for many reasons because you hate to say, don't set me up to make me fail. But a lot of people probably wasn't happy that she got in that position. But she's in it. So congratulations, Dr. Wallace, for doing what you're doing. It's just they're saying that she is ecstatically happy that she's doing this. And she specializes in treating cancer patients at Capitol Health Medical Center, where she could just do all what she do to perform the robotic assisted procedures. I mean, that is so tedious work. You got to know your work to do.
Yeah, I mean,
that.
and she probably has to know hers 2 or 3 times as much to get in this position, which is always a situation that I have with African Americans. Sometimes we get in these high positions, and our failure rate is 0. If we do something wrong, we're chastised for it tenfold, but someone else can be in that position and constantly do something wrong, and they're still, head of the position. So I'm praying for the sister. I know she's got the ability. The Bible says no weapon formed against you should prosper. She's going to shine. But you know that there's a lot of people there hoping that she fails. And so here at Let's Stay Together Talk Show, we're praying for your sister, that you do your thing and you show the world that it ain't got nothing to do with color. It has to do with the Creator.
I mean, that's a congratulations, Dr. Africa.
Yes.
I just love seeing the name. Go, girl, go. Now, this next story, Supreme Court to decide if gun bans for domestic abusers are constitutional. I mean, this is kind of crazy here. The Supreme Court hears arguments Tuesday in a case that could invalidate the federal law barring guns for anyone who is the subject of domestic violence court order. Now, the face of this comes from back in 1994. I mean, we are still arguing and trying to get a law for this, of the banning of the guns. The face of this came with Zaki Rahimi, who in 1994 was stalking, I believe, his girlfriend in a parking lot with the gun, and a witness seeing this, and he threatened these people. But it's like nothing was done. You had a restraining order out on you. Nothing was done. There's something happened again. He violated the court order, threatened another woman with a gun, and fired a gun in 5 different locations. What does it take, babe, for them to ban this? Everybody don't need a gun.
I mean, I think it's, this Second Amendment right, to bear arms is getting a little bit out of hand.
And outdated.
And it's, the bad thing about it is that these people are known offenders. And they're still given the opportunity to carry a gun after they get out or they serve their time, and then they're still able to register to get a gun. And it's like you want to try to limit people like that from having the possibility of doing more damage to someone. I mean, it doesn't mean that with the gun will stop it, 100% stop. But you don't want to get somebody in a with some kind of a criminal background like that the ability to own a gun. Now, the unfortunate thing about it in this world is that you can get a gun illegally.
Walmart.
And you can get it illegally almost anywhere. And some places you can go to gun shops or gun things out in the boonies or something like that. And, they'll just give it to you, not registered or anything. They don't have to even register it in some states. And so it's a shame, but you don't want to have people constantly getting... I think the bad thing about the United States is that we're reactive instead of proactive. And what does it take for someone to be violently killed from someone who's already has a propensity to be violent? And that, and they have a record. Then you need to, we need to be proactive and say, hey, this person should not have this. I mean, people get out of prison and they have a felony case and they can't get a job to support themselves, but they can get a gun. I'm like, so you're telling this person, I'm not going to let you support yourself, so go out and get a job and start shooting some people because you're mad that you can't support yourself.
Oh, that's a vicious circle.
Because a lot of times the people, they get frustrated and they go to the guns because they're not given. But I'm just saying it's a vicious circle. But it's like, I won't give you a job because you have a felony record or a violent record. Because of that, you put it on your thing. You can't get this job. You can't vote, but yet you can get a gun to take advantage of the things that you can't do. and it's just being too reactive, and we need to be better than that.
We do. So I hope they come to some conclusion of what needs to be done by this outdated law from the 1700s that we have the right to bear arms, but too many people are dying at the hand of too many senseless individuals who have access to guns.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, we had Dan and Janine go a little bit longer because I didn't want to continue that conversation, which basically brings up the fact that in December, like I said, we're going to be doing the recordings. Me and Brenda usually do recordings. Even Kenny is going to have a break off because Kenny won't have to do the recordings. I'll be here and I'll stick him in there myself. I don't know if I can send these to Kenny now, but he might, give him a break too. I think I still know how to do that. Put it out there and just connect it.
Oh!
Okay, so has no confidence in me whatsoever. I know anybody didn't hear that, but he said, send them to me. He has no confidence in me whatsoever. Isn't that something? So I'm going to send him over to Kenny so we can put him in there. And we're going to be, in January, we're going to be extending our show from 7 to 9. I can't get Kenny to get off of his job at 6 so he could be here at 6:30. He's not gonna do that. I've been praying on it for the longest. He ain't gonna do that. He's got business he's got to take care of there. So, but I've realized that we need the time more, and I want to share more things. We're gonna be doing a different format for next year. And I haven't really told the guests on that, but we're gonna be changing up the format to do some things. We had a great show last Tuesday, and we're going to be bringing that back, cycling that back in on a monthly basis, talking to a group of people so we can share on that aspect. And so we're going to be talking about some things, and I'm even going to talk to the Rockford Goat to get some ideas from him and what he thinks it works out, and so we can make sure that the show, is very fine-tuned and working the way it should, because Kenny's been doing this for a long time. He's also, in a major TV network too, and so he has the knowledge and stuff that that can help us out, and we're always looking for that little extra edge to provide for you, so we can keep you entertained and informed on the Let's Stay Together Talk Show. So January, I think that's January. What's the Tuesday the first Tuesday in January? I don't know, but we're gonna be doing some things. Try to change up our. Brenda's gonna be doing some more banners for us.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a couple of things just to kind of keep it fresh and stuff for you there. There was something else I wanted to tell you all. Hey, for those of you all that listen on here, you'll be able to hear this too, but you want to do a radio show, just make sure you check out Soar at soarradio.com, and you can be on Soar Radio doing your radio show as well. I am looking for January. The first is January the 2nd. It's going to be right after New Year's.
Wait, so Christmas on a Monday and New Year's Day is on a Monday.
Yep.
Wow.
So we'll be coming right after New Year's. All y'all drunk and stuff like that. You ain't got nothing to do. You're going to be drunk and you ain't going to do. I'm going to listen to the last thing I got to talk to. I mean, you might as well take that Tuesday off and listen to the show. And, and that, Brenda and me share all our craziness that we always share with you. Anything you want to share before we go back on to Soar Radio?
No.
Oh wow, Jesus! What the heck? The person who loves to talk don't have anything to say. But again, we're going to be doing some different things for 2024. And
2024.
Isn't that
you
something?
hear that?
2024.
2024.
We've been doing this it'll be 9 years we'll be going on this, right?
Oh, 10 years.
10 years, I'm sorry. Yeah, 10 years. That's right.
No, I'm just thinking about the number. We're at 2024.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it used to be, when the year 2000 called.
Yeah, that was 24 years ago. So,
I know.
Oh,
Jesus.
That typically what happens is every day counts a new day and every year counts a new year. So, I mean, I know 2023 seemed like it just went by extremely fast. And if we're talking about this stuff because we don't really have any more articles to talk about, I do want to tell you that it seems like there's some elections going on in Ohio, Kentucky and Virginia, where they're talking about things like the abortion, marijuana taxes, and foreign foreign money that's going out to foreign people to help fight with wars. And so right now it seems like Ohio is agreeing to have abortion rights in Ohio. I don't know about what's going on in Kentucky and Virginia, but they're also talking about that as well. So it's an interesting thing that's happening going on, and I can't believe that people are still thinking about voting for Trump
And he's leading the
over
poll.
Biden. And I'm like, it's like this world is going crazy. I mean, how do you sit there and vote for a person who's been impeached twice, a felon, and these people still think he's better to run the United States? I'm like, this is like the Antichrist Part 1.
Yep.
Yeah,
Part
it is
one.
amazing. Hey, we're ready to get back on the air, so get ready. All right, everybody, welcome to the Let's Stay Together Talk Show. Your host, Reverend Rick McCain, along with my baby, my girl, my boo, author and Ife designer, all those titles she has. She's got them. Hey, want to shout out here, the JD Morning Show comes on each Wednesday between the hours of 6 and 8 a.m. You'll hear Justin, Kenny, and the gang. I got to give Justin his due because it is called the JD Morning Show. Justin, Kenny, and the gang will be talking about some great topics just like we do here each Wednesday between the hours of 6 and 8 a.m. only on Soar Radio. And I've got to read this out for our sponsors. I hope I can see this. Put it a little closer to. Yeah, you want to read it? They like my voice better, but I'll let you read it this time. They tell me they want me to read it, so go ahead.
Okay. Lyric Opera of Chicago invites you to smile and laugh along to Donizetti's The Daughter of the Regiment, a charming romantic comedy full of dazzling vocal fireworks. The spirited Horian Marie, a fondly raised by soldiers, loves handsome Tonio, but things get complicated when her aristocratic ancestry is revealed. Will she choose love over social status? The Daughter of the Regiment is on stage at Lyric from November 4th to the 25th. Tickets at lyricopera.org. That's it, babe.
Yeah, I
That
can
is
see
it.
why they like me reading it better. I have that voice that really makes it sing, but thank you very much.
Yeah. You get what I gave you.
Yeah, I'm just joking. I appreciate
Well, you want to continue to talk about these plays?
We can talk about the plays because we're gonna do a little catch up. But what plays did we have? Because we still got to talk about Why Did I Get Married?
Yeah, this is going to go real quick. POTUS, or Behind Every Great Dumb Beep, are 7 women trying to keep him alive. That is playing at Steppenwolf Theater, and it will be there until December the 10th. This is a good one. We gave it 3 stars. It was a good one.
Yes, I mean, typically start off with letting them know that we're also theater critics under the name of Let's Play Theatrical Review, and we go around reviewing plays for those who've never heard us before. We see somewhere about 200 plays a year, and this weekend we saw POTUS at Steppenwolf. It was a very interesting, hilarious play. 7 women, working with this one dumb AASS, person. They'd be talking about that. And it was very hilarious. I thought it was very good. It's one of the best plays I've seen at Steppenwolf in a while. And for those of you who are listening that are not in Chicagoland area, this is plays in the Chicagoland area. If you're coming to Chicago, this is why we bring them up, because we want you to also have other places you can have entertainment at. And we're definitely trying to get more African Americans to go to theater, because there's a lot of African Americans that are performing at these theaters in the Chicagoland area, but there's not a lot of African Americans coming to see them perform. Their families and stuff like that. Definitely when you see it on press night, the nights that we go, you'll see that. But we need to get more African Americans out to see these plays. And POTUS at Steppenwolf is one of those plays we definitely we recommend to go see that. I think Brenda might want to highly recommend it. I recommended it.
It was pretty good. I just
Yeah.
love the fact these women were handling the White House, handling it. I loved it. The next three-star play is The Second City, ETC's 47th review. The name of the play is Oh, the Places You Aglow. So how did you like that one, babe?
I knew you was gonna pass that one to me. I mean, Second City has a standard skit of how they do plays, which I feel that they believe works for them. I would like to see them change it a little bit. They do have some great, some people in there that do some great skits that it can be funny, and you have to be able to be up with the times and know political things and stuff like that to be able to catch the joke. But I tend to think that sometimes if you and they've got multiple plays that performances they have in different locations, but it's the same format that they do, and so I would like to see that changed up a little bit. But overall, if you're looking for some good comedy, the food is there is pretty good too as well.
Yeah.
I mean, even the writing of the paper is exceptional.
Sorry.
But I would like to see them change it up. I would recommend it, but they need to change it up a little bit and make sure that it's a little bit more spicy and different flavor or feel.
Okay, another three-star play is Company, the musical comedy. That is at, what was this one? At Cadillac Palace.
Theater. Yeah.
And that's playing until November the 12th. It was just okay to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a recommended. Young lady is talking to married people because she's interested in getting married. She's dating some men here, and she's not quite sure if she's ready for marriage, and she's talking to them. And they tell her about the joys and trials, the joys and trials of relationships. And I think they talked more about the trials of relationships than they did the joy. And I think the girl's name was her name Bobby?
Yeah.
If I would have heard them say Bobby one more time, Bobby, I'm like, oh my God, give me an aspirin.
Please.
It was it was driving me nuts. I did enjoy it. I gave it 3 stars because it's recommended. But it kind of has that old 70s feels because this is when they came out, and they didn't really seem to update it as much as I would have liked.
Yeah, the only thing they updated was Bobby was a man back then, and they made it a woman. But I mean, hey.
Yeah.
But you know what? This last
and they
one,
had to change the songs too because the songs
did?
were tailored to a man, and they had to change a little bit of the wording of that so it could be there for a female. But it still had a 70s flair, which, if you're talking about relationships and marriages now, you're going to have to, provide some of the updated situations and things that happens in marriage.
Okay.
Like anything else, time changes, and so does how marriages. You got to change with that too. So it's definitely something you would like to go see. But this next one.
This is the one we held the best for last. This is a 4-star play, and it's playing at Chicago Shakespeare Theater. It is called 12th Night. It will be there until November the 26th, and it's directed by Tyrone Phillips. Loved every minute of this play.
So did I, and I was trying to look because I can't remember. I think, and I don't want to say, Shakespeare's done, some comedies. I think it's maybe about 13, and 12th Night is probably one of the top comedies that are performed out there. And Tyrone, who is Jamaican American, provided a Caribbean feel to this, and it was. I mean, the singing, the acting, the
scenic set.
It was
beautiful.
Their speech, the dialect was on point. I mean, it was just well done, well received, it is getting high reviews from all the critics here in Chicago. I'm happy for this brother, African American brother, which he just recently married. Kelsey, we love these two couples here. So I was really happy to see him do so well in this, and he's now in the main front with Shakespeare Theater. Hopefully one day we'll see him in Goodman and even on Broadway in Chicago. This brother is talented, and he showed his talent well with the choice of cast and everything that was done. I was excited, and it's a must-see play if you're in Chicago and going to Shakespeare Theater. You want to go see Twelfth Night.
Mm-hmm. It's worth it. And she say, did you feel the vibes? We felt the vibes and the singing, the music. Oh my God, when they were singing Frankie Beverly and May's song, I'm like, okay, who would have put Shakespeare with Frankie Beverly? But it worked. Everything worked. So kudos to you, Tyrone. Kudos to you. Excellent play.
Yeah, I think Shakespeare did 17 comedies. I said 13, but it is 17 comedies. But considered one of the greatest writer poets of all time, of course. But Tyrone really did an excellent job, and proud of you, brother, and definitely something to see. What we got next?
Do you want to do Why Did I Get Married?
Do we got time for that? Let me tell you. What time is it?
Just other stuff is the letters and stuff. It could be, this seemed like a good topic.
Why did it all seem like something snapped in my ear or something like that? I'm going through issues. Let me see.
You got 16
I
minutes.
got 16 minutes. I don't know if I want to rush through that.
You want to hold it for next week?
Yeah. Let's talk about your letter.
Okay.
Because I don't want to rush through that. And what we're going to talk about, and I apologize for people, I don't want to rush through that. It was basically saying they wasn't made for me. They was molded for me. And talking about how, everybody's always talking about how relationships, he's my soulmate, she's my soulmate. No. God formed man, and he formed woman from the rib of a man, and said that they should two be as one. They were molded to be together with each other. And when we say helpmate, we say my soulmate. There was a thing, and I'm just giving a brief thing of what I'll talk about maybe next week. There was a consensus. I saw an article out there that basically said the marriage rate now is at 39%, which is good. Divorce rate, I should say, 39%, which was almost half, so it kind of dropped down. But that's still a lot. But then there was a article out there, I think about several years ago, it's saying that 75% of marriages don't last up to 7 years or something like that. And so, you say this is my soulmate. What makes them your soulmate? You're molded. You mold yourself into that person. You learn how to love and to care and to go through trials and tribulations. Because if this is my soulmate, God didn't make us as soulmates. He molded us as man and wife, and the two shall become one. That's molding, that's combining. And we had to learn how to combine each other as one so we can be on one accord with each other, which is something soulmates don't do. I mean, it sounds great. It's a wonderful thing. Oh, that's my soulmate. Oh, she found her soulmate. But you've been divorced before. That wasn't your soulmate? I think I was looking at Judge Judy, and she said, "You was in your. This man is married 3 times. He's married 2 times. She was going to marry." He said, "I just thought this was going to be my soulmate." She said, "Yeah, but I'm sure you thought your first marriage was going to be your soulmate, and your second marriage is going to be your soulmate." I mean, we talk about it all the time, but what it makes it strong, and I know I'm kind of talking about this, but what makes it strong, don't be rolling your eyes on this radio show. Girl, I can see you. What is wrong with you? You supposed to be molded into to working with
You
me.
steady talking about it, and you asked me to read the letters.
But see, I know the time, baby. I keep on. I told you I'm always on time. I'm looking at the time. But let me just say this, because this is what I call, this ain't no soulmate. She got to be molded into listening to me. But I'm just, now she didn't forget what, I made me forget what I was going to say. Just let's work together. This is what I don't, this is why I say I need better help, because this person is not listening to what I'm talking about. If God is moving me to say something, you should not interrupt the anointing of God. Please don't do that anymore.
You interrupted yourself.
And so what we've got to do is just, understand that you can be my soulmate, but I'd rather for you be molded into my mate. And we're going to talk about that later. And I was going to say, for 30 years, that's what I was going to thank you, Jesus, for helping me when I got interrupted by, this woman. This woman you gave me, as Adam said. For 30 years, it hasn't been a soulmate. We've been molded to each other so that we can love each other, as God has called us to love each other. So what you got for this relationship letter? We got to figure out somehow how to stop you from coughing when you're on this radio show. And I don't never hear you coughing in the house. I'm like, what is it? You're allergic to radio?
Maybe.
I mean, we got to, you're on the TV.
The airflow is dense in here.
We're going to work on that too. Go ahead.
Okay, dear LSTT. Okay, so last week was Halloween. My friend told me her son, who is 6 years old, dressed up as a mass murderer. I asked her, was she cool with what he wanted to portray for Halloween? She snapped at me and said it's nothing new that he hasn't heard on the news, watched on television, or heard someone talking about. So basically, she was cool with the decision. You got that right. His decision. I asked her what would his costume look like, or what did his costume look like? And she said gory, with lots of blood, a knife, and a gun. LSTT, I can't even imagine my child wearing something so prolific, and mind you, they didn't. Do you think this was a bit much for a 6-year-old Halloween costume? Sincerely, I just can't.
Wow. There's so many levels to that. Who is he supposed to be?
A mass murderer.
She dressed her 6-year-old as a masked murderer.
With the blood, knife, and gun.
So we've got schools around here where kids are going in there with guns, killing other kids. People going in there killing, going into grocery stores and killing people. It's this unsatiable rage for violence is just rampant in this world. And the mother decides to pick a outfit for her 6-year-old as a masked murderer. Now let me just say this. I said the mother chose to do this.
Right.
I can't see a kid saying, hey, I want to be a mass murderer, mommy. I can't see that. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the mind of the mother. And so what was the question again as I try to divulge into this?
Do you think this was a bit much for a 6-year-old Halloween costume?
I'm going to say, Kenny didn't play our music. I just want to let him know that you missed the music that you had for us. But do I think that's a bit much? No, I don't think it's a bit much. I think it's ridiculous. I think not only, I don't want to say it's a bit much. I think you're a bit much. I think she's a bit much. I think she needs to be in a psychiatric ward to find out what is on her mind that she would do that. The Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go. And this is what you want him to be on Halloween, a masked murderer?
A mass murderer.
It's bad enough that people dress up as Jason and the other little characters, and you know,
Michael
Myers, and what was the one with
Kruger.
I mean, okay, this is our sick little minds in action anyway. But a mask murderer, is it a bit much? No, it's not a bit much. It's too much, and it's too much that we need to start maybe seeing. Is she fit to be the mother of this child if she's teaching him something like this at this age? It's unacceptable.
Yeah, very unacceptable. I just can't believe it. Reading this, it's like you see so many cute costumes for children that age. But for you to, even if the child thought of it, and for you to co-sign on it and buy, because you're the one putting the outfit together, you're the parent. You should have been, well, no, babe, I got another outfit in mind. Let's see if you like this. But you went along with it. To me, it's like you really do have to ask the question, is she a fit parent to this child? But sincerely, I just can't. We feel you. This was not right for a 6-year-old. Now, if you are grown up and that's the craziness you want to portray in this world, that's on you. But if I'm your steward over you, watching you, guiding you, that's not cool.
Let me just say something. It's not right for anybody to live in my household to wear an outfit like that. I don't care if you was a teenager and you living in my house. I'm like, dude, you ain't gonna walk out of here with no mask murderer thing on here. I mean, especially as a black man, they may think you trying to do something with that outfit. I'm like, no, a 6-year-old. This is ridiculous. But
yes,
you could be a teenager in my house. You ain't walk. No, dude, no, not here.
Not today.
You walk out like that, you may not walk in. Okay, because we that's not the example that we. Whatever happened to old days where the family says, "Don't shame my name."
Yeah, that's long gone too.
My name is McCain. I don't want you walking out there with this ridiculous outfit, shaming the name that we have. So why do that? I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I hope we answered your question. I just can't because we kind of agreeing with you. So thank you for writing us. If you have any other letters out there, please send them where, babe?
You can send them to Let's Stay Together Talk Show at gmail.com.
We thank you. Briefly, Club 50 have a nice interview coming up next week with beautiful young lawyer. I usually shout out some young people, of course, under 50, and I'm sure she might not even be 40 yet, but I love once a year shouting out someone young doing their thing. She's an attorney, and I love her doing what she does best. So great interview coming up next week, and Ife Designs love you. And thank you very much. Holiday season is among us. If you need the holiday invitation sent out, let me know.
All right. So we've got a couple more minutes here on the show. I want to just shout out. I cannot read this with my glasses, but right now in the state of Ohio, what is the percentage up there at the top here? What does that say?
Where you at?
Right there.
Okay.
Voting percentage.
I can't see that neither.
Okay, well, you as blind as I am. So right now in Ohio, the vote for legalizing abortion, establishing constitutional right for abortion, is leading 56.3% to 43.7%. Legalizing marijuana, wow, how would you expect? That's leading too. 55.7% to 44.3%, and that is in the state of Ohio. We've got elections going on.
Legalized.
You got elections going on right now in Colorado, Connecticut, Kentucky, Maine, Mississippi, New Jersey, New York. I didn't know they had all these things going on there. They got elections going on in all these different places. They're voting on different referendums. I don't want to look at you. We've got a lot of voting going on, and right now it just seems like people are trying to wonder, what's going on with Trump and how is he still leading. I think one of the shocking things that I heard as we leave in a few seconds is that they were saying that Trump is leading at black men.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and I'm like, that's what I'm like. What?
Maybe
I mean,
that's
these
fake
polls,
news.
the
Fake
polls,
news?
the polls that they polled about 5,000 people, and that's and you're still a year out. But I can't imagine. I can't imagine anybody believing that Trump is concerned about their needs. But I don't understand black men voting for Trump. I don't have a problem you being Republican, but Trump. And I mean, I'm going to say this again. I think the Democrats, you need to step up your game too, because you can't just think the black vote is a given. You get like I think Vance Jones was telling me on CNN. He says all the things that black men stand for, Biden has not provided, and so because he has not done that, they don't feel that their vote is counting. And so if you're asking for certain things, in the black perspective as a male, and you're not receiving that, then you're not going to get my vote. And so Democrats got to step up on that. Go ahead.
Comment from Miss Mary Silla said, "Please tell me this is fake news, right?"
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's not. Hey, speaking of fake news, we got to get out of here.
It's true, Mary.
Yeah, it's a poll. That's all. We're still a year away. Hey, but let's stay together. Talk. I'm gonna get out of here. We'll see you all next Tuesday at 7 p.m. I think the song is gonna be Stump, but we may not have enough time for it. But we'll see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m. See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right. For those of you all on the Facebook here, I was gonna do my little Ray Charles thing as I go, is well, I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh yeah, I said I got a woman way over town is good to me. Oh yeah, she gives me money when I'm in need. Oh, she's a kind of friend I need indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a woman way over town. She's good to me. I got a woman that's sitting next to me that's good to me. That's what I like. Hey, we're going to get out of here. I won't be wearing these glasses anymore because I only have two eyes. So I don't have to go for a third cataracts. And I should be okay at the next Tuesday. And I thank for all of you all to pray for me. And I want to give a special thanks to Midwest Eye Center here out in Calumet City. Excellent people. A funny thing I noticed there, I was telling the young lady, we're going to get out of here, that this is the friendliest office. Everybody is so nice. And then I realized there ain't no man there.
That's why.
I mean, they may have a man doctor here there, but the whole staff is women. And all they did was say to me, all they did was just chuckle. I'm like, yeah, y'all said this. I mean, because it's the nicest office I've been to. And I'm just like, wait a minute, there's no men here.
None.
And that's just, I'm like, so it's almost like looking at POTUS for real. If you saw know the play POTUS, Brendan know what I'm talking about. Hey, we got to get out of here. Again, we're going to be doing some new things. We got a couple of more shows in November. We're going to be doing recordings in December. And January, we're going to have a new format. We'll talk about that soon. I got to talk to the guests on that. We're going to have a new format. And January the 2nd, 2024. And I got to get, I'm sure he's going to say yes, but I really haven't spoken to Justin yet. So I apologize for this, Justin. I'm sure he's going to say yes. But we're going to move our time back to 2 hours from 7 to 9 p.m. Now, if Justin hears this and say, I'm just going to tell him no, then we won't be doing it. But I'm hoping that he's going to be okay with that. But I do got to get his permission first. So tentatively, we will be doing that from 7 to 9 o'clock starting in January 2024. But we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What?